A policy letter from the new U.S. Forest Service chief is calling for the rapid suppression of wildfires this summer. That may sound prudent, especially if fires are burning near communities, but it raised eyebrows among some who closely study fire policy. They worry it may signal a return to an aggressive posture that has been linked to growing wildfire severity.
To understand the context of the letter, we need to go back nearly 100 years to another letter whose impacts are still being felt. In the mid-1930s, U.S. Forest Service Chief Ferdinand Silcox wrote that, quote, fast, energetic, and thorough suppression of all fires in all locations was to be the agency's goal, ideally within the first work period. And if that didn't happen, he continued, before 10 o'clock of the next morning. This was the origin of what would become known as the 10 a.m. policy.
We know that decades of fire suppression and not sort of allowing fire to have much of a role in the landscape has led to greatly increased fuel loads, especially in types of forests that historically had fire pretty routinely.
That's forest scientist Mark Kreider, who was the lead author of a paper last year that identified the suppression bias. The paper argues that low and moderate intensity fires are easier to extinguish, resulting in a bias toward, quote, higher intensity burning occurring under extreme weather.
Through this suppression bias, we're taking those inherent increases from climate change and fuel accumulation, and we're sort of tacking on an extra bump in severity.
That's why he read sections of Forest Service Chief Tom Schultz's recent letter of intent on this year's season with concern. We will make appropriate risk-informed efforts to fully suppress small fires before they become large, complex incidents to ensure we can protect lives, property, valuable timber, and natural resources, it reads. It is critical that we suppress fires as swiftly as possible. To Kreider, that last line was reminiscent of the 10 a.m. policy, which was formally abandoned in the 1970s in favor of an approach that recognized fire's ecological role. Kreider agrees that suppression has a role to play in protecting homes, but worries about the implications of trying to quickly extinguish all blazes.
I think it will increase risk in the future. I think this is a case of addressing short-term risk without adequate kind of consideration given to the long-term risk.